so far so good tukyali wano genda maaso kwa
yes so kati abannayuganda nze mbasaba ekintu kimu tutegeere kikye tuli tutegeere nti ffenna tuli bannayuganda but usubscribe to different tribes tusomese abaana baffe ebyobuwanga n'ennono za tribes zaffe ze tuvaamu oba Museveni aganya okuzzaawo omugabe musomese abaana bammwe osanga be bali banja omugabe ate mutandika kimujjukiza nti we want omugabe ebyo byagenda nga yeyita saabagabe birekeraawo yajja wano natta okulima amatooke n'agamba nti Western Uganda ejja galima naye baganda bange Western Uganda alone can not feed the all Uganda era kati ennaku eziddako amatooke tugenda gajja Tanzania okay tugenda gajja Tanzania lumonde bumonde binyeebwa karoti miyembe tugijja Kenya kyali kibadde woddi so mwebale nnyo kuleeta miramwa wadde kale tuli batono nowe tubeera babiri these spaces are recorded make sure you record them nze neewunyiza nnyo we nalabye Guddugaalo ng'ashe yalinze akantu ka Nobert Mao ate bwe baba tebabiwuliriza Nobert Mao si minister mmwe eno space temugizanyirako ne muhooza abeerako n'aziwulira kambategeeze kuba bwe twabeerera abatabbu nnyo ne mayanja nga bwe wabaawo luhima omanya bumanya first family kweri so temutya bulingi baka oba Guddugaalo ne wokola space nze sisobola teekayo space bannemesa era we nageza nga ko ziteekayo nga baziwanulayo nga zibula n'ebyensonyiwa completely osanga nizi holding nga ndi out of Uganda but newe mubaako bantu basatu what matters the message you're sending out to people fecho kye twagala abantu balina bu TV bwabwe wano mu Uganda tebulina na population olumala nga kabula kokka ekalaba so Dr. James ekya namba entono tekimatalinga but what matters is the content we are giving out to Ugandans okay we should focus more on the message because what we are after mobilizing Ugandans to get interested in hosting Museveni out of power otherwise thank you so much keep the fire burning don't give up this platform is a new phenomenon on the African continent. It is not like in Kenya where many Kenyans the penetration of smartphone is so high. Here in Uganda the penetration of smartphone is so low. But I'm so happy soon I can hold the space. Guddugaalo can hold the space. Bring back can hold a space and nobody now takes interest in it. Thank you so much. Keep it up.
Yes. Western Uganda abantu batoro muliyo ebigambo mubuhulire ebigambo by'omusajja Lukwago very informative brother Lukwago webale muno sazini tuliyo ntugamba otutoro beita bena bigamba mu Uganda kandi here nkabatoro ni mwetegezo Uganda he's not using really strong Uganda with the Bisoko he's trying to break it in simple terms so but it's very informative. I want you to know we have a lot of people listening to us in others more than the ones on the platform. Jagala mchimanye. So I be here monitoring the space. While we're jumping and to get up to 90, you know, but you find there are like 50 others. I want to recognize President Eliabu, presidential candidate Eliabu, aspirant 2026, 2023. Sebo, mukulu Eliabu, waigabu imoje na ye ovo wera bidde. No chabu ijuko ubuntu wanzo sekem guy. Anyway, thank you for joining the space, Eliab, and we are happy to have you here. Guys, this space may be about Western Uganda, but as Ugandans, we need to speak because some of us may even not have lived in Western Uganda. Others might have lived there as Vaganda, just to share your experience, to make people understand how we socialize with other tribes. You know, we do not really try to be cruel and you know, brutal like how the regime portrays us to be. Just because there is a one Twesigwa, there is a one Tumwine, you know, there is Mwesigwa, there is Mohozi, you know, there are these names that keep coming in the news, Aveine, Ovarusoke. So I want you to know, it has reached to a level where we need to clean ourselves and distance ourselves from the wrongdoers. We are not here as people of NUP or FDC. We are not here as Catholics or Muslims or Protestants. We are not here as Banyankore, Bakonjo, Batoro, Baganda, Bacholi. We are here as Ugandans. Let that be clear. We are here as Ugandans. I don't really know anyone here, and I don't think I need to know you as of now. All we need is to understand why we are here as people. We are oppressed. What is oppressing you? You know, let's speak about those things because our problems are more or less the same. We use bad roads, you know, we use bad hospitals. And when you go in these hospitals, they are not asking you, are you from Ankore? Noruganka? Yeah? So that they give you maybe a different kind of medicine because it's not even there. The best you will get is a cheat, a piece of paper sending you to a pharmacy somewhere to buy something. That is the best you will get from our hospitals, you know. So we need to be realistic. There are some things that are not about politics. We should not really be politicizing our standards of living. You know, we are fighting to be human beings in our country. Waliwo no mchala Janet. ayagambye that she's encouraging people not to leave Uganda. But the same person has a husband whose son has tortured a prolific writer like Kakwenza, forcing him to leave the country. Kakwenza might be a guy who writes, but he's also a source of employment. He's a young man who could maybe open up a company if he was in his homeland. And I'm just saying Kakwenza, but there are so many Ugandans who have been forced to leave the country because of the poor governance, the brutality that we get and we endure on a daily basis. So, ebintu bindi ntubibaza habo burumi. We are not really trying to come here and make someone look bad. I don't know Museveni. I have grown all my life knowing one president of Uganda, but I don't really know him. I just got to know the man is called Tiruhaburwa in 2021. The man has been Kaguta Yoweri Museveni. Then suddenly he's Tiruhaburwa. So this is how he keeps lying to us. He has been a liar, and I will say that again. He has been a liar. I can go on and on, but nkwenda kubaza muno manyire abatoro tutubaza muno abatoro tuli banta babaza mpora
Dito karuganka cyara abatoro kabaza mpora iyo baruka bubarusi
ate ina kugamba ni mbaruka really, is that necessary? You have to use the word kubaruka. I can't.
Iyo to kubaza ko tokwita kubaza ko bakwita kubaruka baruka.
Museveni akatulega, Museveni yaturega twagwa yo.
Boja kakulega. Nyota ntakaroroza mtora kubaza matako manya biki nkasuka.
That is Stella Nyan's classes. I learned from Stella Nyan. The moment I go to know you can call Mataka, and it is even the incoming Law Society president. One thing I like about Isaac Semakade, he recently came out and he accepted that it's okay, people can call me a dimwit. Because there were other people who were attacking us, who were abusing him, and they are attacking us. But the guy came out and he's like, it's okay, people have to attack me because he's trying to advocate for a space where everyone should speak the way they want to speak. So I am free to call anyone anything, but with respect. I do not think I wish or I have the ability to kill like these people. But you guys saw a video of a family that lost a young boy in Toro Fort Poto. The guy's manhood was shattered. The knives were removed. The ankles were plucked. The dad endured that pain. Even in that video, the first thing you see is the dad crying. This is from Toro region. And when you hear someone saying, "Abantu from Western Uganda mukurungi, and even when you've been in Western Uganda, you hear some idiots in Western Uganda saying, but we are the ones in what? In shit. Like we are the ones in control. You really see like you want to slap this guy back to the senses. So we have really lived or tolerated so much. But it's time to really speak out and let's be objective. But when I switch to English, when I switch to Luganda, some other languages give you the tone you need to express or stretch the point. So I'm talkative, I know that. I'm talkative and I'm wounded. So good girl.
You can imagine a wounded talkative person. We are here to suck in all of it. But they need to hear these words because they take us for granted for so many years. I think we have a visitor today. On space, I have not seen him before. He's called Hassan Ali, so we will give him some space to speak. He put his hand up a few minutes ago. So yeah, yes. Hassan, if you can hear me, please unmute your mic and speak to us.
Yes, habari zenu. Hold on, one of my radios is making noise. Yes, I've been to Uganda 3 times. I've been to Jinja. It's a very beautiful country, very beautiful people. I've traveled in Uganda. I've traveled in Kenya. I've worked in Kenya, in Uganda, in Tanzania, and in Rwanda. And I spoke to some people in Kigali, and I told them that I traveled a lot. So they asked me, they say, which is the best country you've been to? And I responded, I said to them, the best country I've been to in East Africa is Uganda. And later on, intelligence service people came. I was almost arrested for that in Rwanda. So sometimes people, they don't appreciate what they have, I think. I've traveled. I've been in Tanzania. I've been in Kenya. I've been Uganda.
Adi, which country are you from?
I'm
which
from
nationality are you?
Somaliland.
I
live in UK. I live in UK. I stayed in Jinja. My cousin had to force me. He said, we were here only for work. We're not supposed to stay here. Come, let's go. Because I loved the place so much. The food, the life that was there. It was so good. So even manufactured products, we used to smuggle manufactured products from Uganda. Uganda is one of the leading manufacturers in East Africa to send it to other East African countries because they put tariffs on Ugandan products. So, but we used to smuggle them out, even agriculture products. So Uganda is doing really well. And me, I'm not a democratic person. I don't like democracy. That's the honest truth. If democracy is so good, why are the Chinese doing so well? Democracy and this stuff is just to divide us, to make us confused. As long as the economy is growing and people's lives are getting better, I don't care really about democracy. But I will continue to listen to you guys, and maybe I will chip in later. But try to keep it into English. Thank you.
Hassan, thank you very much, but I will want to say that again. Like we are trying our level best to speak in all languages, but we are not going to prioritize English here. But for your sake, we want to thank you for always giving attention to issues of Africa, and we also want to say that your support as the outside world, if I may say, but I don't think you're the outside world, but your input has also helped us keep floating. It is not easy, so we want to thank you. But specifically, back to the point, guys, we are saying that Western Uganda, we should not wait for 2026. What the regime is doing right now is to divert and channel our attention to discussing issues of reforms and nyo in a country where elections are mobbed by violence, by abductions. So we cannot reduce ourselves to discussing issues of, double-sided individuals like Mao, who never stand on their words, who lead a party, but they cannot even show you the proper agenda of that party. We are too better than that. And I think the more we empower ourselves, it doesn't matter the number. I agree with Lukwago. We have to really break these things in simple language, because one of the things, my brother Hassan, that has also destroyed our standards of politics or standards of living in Uganda is these things are being preached in English, and everything is being politicized. When you say we need good roads, someone is saying you are being paid to speak about that. When you say we have a lot of trash in the capital city, someone is saying who is funding you to tarnish our image. These are the responses. So they are not even addressing what we are saying. They are simply asking who is funding you to say what you're saying. They don't think we have even the knowledge of understanding good services and bad services, good leaders or bad leaders. They think we are just dumb fools there. And they are right to think like that, because everything they do is to make us dumb. They cut off internet, they block us from any information channel, they put TVs that spread propaganda and nudity and homosexuality and they be talking about homosexuality this, homosexuality that. I mean, whose business is that? If nobody in my life I've seen talking about homosexuality more than the regime. We are talking about homosexuality. You talk about Anita is stealing our money, homosexuality. You talk about Kaguta, you are using our fund badly, homosexuality. Come on. So I want you to know the state has captured information distribution channels. The only channels we use is social media. So it's very important for us to speak our languages more than English. That is our colonial language. We shall not prioritize it. We are not going to really prioritize it, but we shall try to also be fair enough. Because in other languages, in Western Uganda or Northern, they are hard. So we need to break these things in all languages. Thank you. Presidential candidate, my brother from another mother, I want you to tell us how are you? Nogambachi, Edizo, Olinkahi, Wakankahi, Orisef.
mwebale bantu mwe nimumpurira
kura agenda misha
nimanza nsime okushanga nimuremera muramwa twakumara emyezi tujye mu kintu eki mukaba tujye kufowa abantu nibinja bagamba wanyuma kandi buri omwe yagamba eshonga nungi stars, you are doing a great job, but I'm sure Mr. Museveni and his people bakuliyetingira ihanga eri nabo bonka batakibasa controlling hati wababuza besherekene bakugira ati ihanga itwali ikize nito titukine way forward abo kuba buri kimwe cyona kibasingira mani buri bari kureba emyaka yabasingira mani tubine mugorozi kumali busha abantu population eri kusingane y'abana bato and of which abana bato bona nibenda change izo nazo migorozi kumali busha ati besigama kintu kimwe okukozesa ebyani because they have state resources and some institutions which should be working for the people bakazi compromisinga zona hati nezabo eshonga ya electoral reforms yote no kuleningire bakeshonga nkuru baba batagambire office ya electoral commission because that is where all evils come from, because chairperson electoral commission byaba kama na rondo mwani Museveni konkabona bali kuruganye baleta simanye electoral reforms simanye wati echo ni bakira baro baju akaruhuka ariko bakibirwe twashadire mutukagira ngo twaza kwababa Simon Owini Doro na Ronda Museveni icyo kandi kimanyisa ngo batwatira mu bintu ebyo security agencies bona no bahurira ni Museveni taro kindi ikaba shocked washanga no gamba no hakanisa documentage no tandika kuba enemy waba mabari mu security niyo kana kuteka ntogori yaho Mr. Museveni kwari kuza ku recruiting abo bantu nabanza yaba injectingamo okumasikalinga under patriotism while not sense bari ku political cyo so ningira ndi abarishe kureta electoral reforms ibintu kwijana bemerera nshonga yo kugira ngo omubazi wa Karuru cyabasikabe narondo abantu tari kugira ngo Mr. Museveni we yamuronda ngo then parliament ma approving kandi already yamuronzire nshonga ni nyingi zimwagamba 2026 ni hale okubasa kwiyaho mwami Museveni kandi nyo mumva ari kwikiriza ngo twaguma twesiga kintu kimwe akaruru tutine ndije optional rubajo biyari mitubani tuzanira amizi abo kuborede no birabatandikiye foraningira 2031 ndebereho umutabane ijeriho na posting nagira ngo 2031 so already abiri na mukaga kibakije barabo bagenzere umuntu twaguma mu cyo mazima gona hituba turi bari kuzanira amizi ngo kutuge minyeto n'amagezi mato n'amagezi masya n'umusayi musa kandi muto twabire nitwe tugira ngo twahostinga spaces in case turonde other solutions tutaribo kwesiga makaruru and of which nareba nico mwemerere konkanyo kabiri ngira nti hari ababene balita options za protest vote vote of protest kandi abantu eco nikirungi yes konkera still naco nikiba cyarinda after tinkamanya obu turi kubani tupesharinga nitwakanisa nitumatchinga tu parliament turi kugwana sobole bwenguzi nenshi oba before 2026 tuzakorara twagira amakandi kantu kitwabagaho okuprotestinga kugira ngo hakire electoral commission nawe turebe kutokubaka kugira ngo cyabasika rugo mu office atandike kurondwa endije ngero ataronzigwe Museveni wenyine abo kubeci cyenyine nicereka ngo yaronda Museveni automatically nateko kuba ari we nateko kurangirira boss we so ngabire nyine kitiso nyo kugira ngo after march to parliament ishuri kwenda akora ebero mwenda yo kwikuma independence day twakirije mu twahirwa kikaba successful tutandike kuparaningaho okutokubaka kugira ngo office ya electoral commission tujigwanise nayo tubanze twagite Muhammad gamwe na gamwe yaza kubaraka ruru hakire bene kabarira abantu etari kukabarira boss ejo ni bete sayina abanyene ndi kumanya ba hostels naba establish ishingire cyo kintu cyo kugira ngo tuprotestinge against corruption okutokubaka kuja kuchipresinga that is my idea nyine ho benje byo kugamba ko ngana ni nanti manze ngaruke mpurikizo n'abandi bari kugambaho then ngumenanye nyongeraho mpora mwe bale munonga ndi kumanya bamwanyitegereza naga mu runyankore obani nzabona uranyambaka translating ho bicemu I don't know mwe bale munonga
mwe bale sija ogun presidential material ogun murebo msija
aza ninye managing campaigner
campaign manager
managing campaigner we are going to start managing
konka tugambire good girl gendo mise no reba ejesaha 2026 teri you know I've been telling people how sure are you that you'll be able to live in 2026 with the rate at which people are dying, you know. So some of you are here but you don't know your future just like me. One thing we know for sure, we shall die at particular point, but we don't know when. So while we are still alive, we need to utilize our time very precisely and for the benefit of all of us. And I think those are words that I borrowed from the speech of Benjamin Katana while sending off Mama Jolly. Please, what are your speeches in Western Uganda? Jolly, Honorable Deputy President of NUP, the late Honorable Jolly was a good leader, and very many people converged to send her off. Benjamin Katana was among the people who gave a very keynote speech. So I wanted to just raise that. We have our doctor who always gets his break. Instead of eating some chapati and wait to go back to do it, he comes here to spend a minute and say a word. So we are going to give him a minute. James, you have the mic.
Well, I just wanted to give a feedback to Hassan Ali. He has mentioned something, and it might escape us. And well, Hassan Ali, Uganda was called the Pearl of Africa. That's what is in history and it's known. And the truth is, Uganda has only 2 seasons, wet and dry. And Uganda has arable land, I think 95%, apart from the arid regions, which are Karamoja. Now, Hassan, get this very clear. The Uganda we want is what we are speaking about. We appreciate that Uganda. That's why we are speaking. Uganda has gold worth $12 trillion US. You said you're in UK. I hope you have a good brain to see what UK looks like. I am in the US, and most Somalis are living here. In that Somali, you have, I think, Somaliland and Somali. One of those Somalis has money, doesn't have banks. Money is on the streets and nobody picks, nobody steals. And that's one of those Somalis. But there's a Somali where Uganda is fighting. There's a Somali where Uganda has caused insecurity. There's a Somali where Uganda has forced them to run to US here. So when you come to speak to us, you might think we don't appreciate our Uganda. We appreciate our Uganda. We have a Uganda where somebody is stealing Nile patch. We have a Uganda where China is taking gold. fisheries. That Uganda had Uganda Nightil. That Uganda was manufacturing clothes. And so Uganda were trying to fight to restore. So for you can come here, perhaps as somebody who is benefiting from this present Uganda that some of us are not, because we know Somali, if you came to Jinja, one of the warlords has shops there. One of the warlords runs petrol stations in Uganda. So we are speaking about the Uganda we want. You said democracy divides people. Where does it divide people? It's rule of law. It's ruled by the people. People choosing their leaders. You're mentioning China. The Chinese live in, I think if you go to America, the Chinese live in America. In fact, America is a market for China. If it's a dictatorship, it must work for people. We're talking about a dictatorship in Uganda that does not work for us. So Hassan Ali, when we talk about Uganda, yes, it's a beautiful country. It has beautiful women. It has beautiful waters. It's the source of the River Nile. The River Nile, the source of life to Egypt, to Sudan, to the Mediterranean area. We know that. So Hassan, hey, don't come here. I'm not discouraging you. Don't come here tell us that you think we don't know the Uganda we want. There's a Uganda we want to appreciate. We want also to appreciate the Uganda like you're appreciating. By the way, you are appreciating Uganda that we are not appreciating. The Uganda that a few of you foreigners enjoy and we don't. I would love to run petrol stations in Uganda like Somalis do. The warlords of Somalia are running special stations. There's that petrol, one of the as you enter Jinja, has a petrol station there. He was a warlord, you know it. So Hassan, we appreciate Uganda, by the way. It is good when you say, let's appreciate Uganda. We do. And we are saying we want that Uganda for us. Why would I be speaking from America when we have 12 trillion? I come from Busia, by the way, where the gold is. 12 trillion worth of gold comes from Busia.
Doctor, a quick one. Doctor, by the time Farai Didi was fighting the Americans in the 1990s, he was being sheltered here in Uganda. Go on.
Yeah, I just wanted, first Hussein had come and maybe he thinks we don't know what the Uganda we want. And so he thinks maybe we don't, maybe he thinks we don't know what he is saying. The few of us you find here who are speaking and you're coming to speak, we want that Uganda you're talking about. We want to appreciate like you're appreciating.
All right.
Thank you.
We are, guys, we are almost in our third hour of this conversation. And I want to say we are a first world country stuck with third world leaders. Okay? We are a first world country stuck with rudimental kind of doing things and the mechanisms these regimes are using to do things, especially our regime, because there are so many African countries languishing in poverty. So one of the reasons is the poor leadership that these the Africans who have taken power after colonialism. Museveni is one of those people. I think it's very important for us to understand that even the way he thinks, most of the time we hear in his statements, colonial this, colonial that, colonial influence, it's because in his childhood, he has grown up in a colonial environment. So this is a colonial-free kind of society. We are way beyond divisions, tribal sentiments, religious sentiments. We are beyond that. And Museveni wants to fully associate himself with that to divide us. We do not say these things are bad or that. We just say that they are being used by bad leaders with bad intentions. The people who are dividing Muslims in Uganda, they are into Museveni's pockets. The people who are begging Museveni new cars, they are Catholic bishops. The people who are giving Museveni agents airplay on TV channel, they are people like Ibujingo who are pastors. Even Museveni himself has a daughter who is a pastor. So you need to understand they use institutions like the police, the church, journalism, they use the law to make sure like they stay in power, but not actually doing as the law says what should be done. And right now, they are trying to do the same thing. They are trying to do electoral reforms. And when we all know that the decisions are not taken by the law, no, the decisions are taken, then the law defends the decisions at all costs. Museveni asalawo, then nebakosa amateeka, bayinza okuwa excuse ensiru. One of the reasons I don't like the chairperson of Uganda Human Rights is because she says the victims of torture, some of them are actually abroad, and she cannot prove this accusation or whatever statement. And when you listen to more of these people defending the bad things that the regime has done, people like Kirio Wechiwanuka, who went to the UN and told a blatant lie, like there are no safe houses, there are no torture victims in Uganda. He's talking to the UN. when you see people who do international relations with different parts of the world on behalf of Uganda, they are lying. The last one was Nabanja, who went and told the UN that they should not take Chagulanyi's words, they should remove the sanctions because Chagulanyi is misleading them. It's like, they don't have the ability to see what's going on in Africa. Partly, one of the reasons the international world needs to know, we are not begging you to have our freedom. We are simply telling you, keep your funding, stop funding dictators, keep your money. We are not looking for charity here. So sometimes they think, when I see the European Union, this Jan Sadek, the guy who heads the European Union in Uganda, he came out and gave around, I don't know how much billions for tourism. It was 4 or 40? I don't remember. Billions. He's putting it in a corrupt system. We all know that those billions, even if they were to go, they will not reach the tourism sector. So there is a reason why they keep underestimating us, undermining our decisions. And we also have to be watchful because we know there are some Western elements who are capable of taking people who stand up and speak for Africans, people like Bobby Wine. There are so many of African sons from Patrice Lumumba, the likes of Sankara, who have been killed, and there is international diplomacy at work to exterminate these people. So we are also watching this pocket. We don't trust anyone in this business. We trust actions. We are oppressed people, and if you're here, you think we are going to fund you to fight your own oppression, or you're in the wrong place. You understand? So please, I would love to redirect this conversation to why we should not wait for 2026. I'm going to go for quite some time. My co-host, you're going to be moderating if that's fine for now. And also, mukulu suna, nkuhulira ofuluta eyo webase. Share the space, guys. If you're requesting to speak, share the space. If you're here and you're enjoying the conversation, share the space. Speak the language you're comfortable with. I think, Hassan, you have your hand up for now. In a minute, maybe. If so, please take on. Good girl, take over the moderator. Thank you.
Hassan, you have a minute to say something, and then we'll move to the next speaker. Hassan, can you hear me? Unmute.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I want to say to the brother that when I came to Uganda, I was working with a logistics company. My family have a logistics company, so we used to bring products to the, to the Niles Brewery. So I've seen those petrol stations that he's speaking about, and we the people of Somaliland have problem with the with the President Museveni, with the Ugandan government, because they are violating the African Union Charter, Article 4. They are violating against us. They are violating the United Nations. They are honestly being a puppet of the West, a puppet of the West. And but I'm just saying, even if you are going to to make things better in Uganda, let's not make it let's not give opportunity to other people to make it bad. Okay, you have rights. It's your country to work to make it better than it is now, but let's not give our enemies, the enemies of Africa, opportunity space. As for the money for the aid, the money they give us now, it is very interesting. The countries that done colonialism, that done the Berlin Conference, today they are angels, and they come and give us aid, and they are development partners. It is very funny that the same countries, and then they are also working in the UN system. So I want Uganda to be better. I want to see a better government in Uganda. So that's all I'm saying. But also, please, if we can, tell other people that, Uganda is violating international law about Somaliland. I mean, they were taken to court by Congo, the Uganda's government, and I think they paid some reparation. But they're violating the same laws against Somaliland. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hassan. Guji Martin, it's your turn. You can take on the mic, please.
Thank you, good girl. Thank you, bring back our people, although he's going for a break. And thank you, Hassan, for that. I'll first start with RIP to Mama Jolie and to the New Fraternity and all the change-seeking Ugandans. Guys, we are saying let's not wait for 2026. I don't know if we ever sit down and reflect. So many people have gone in the same manner Mama Jolie has left us. I think it's high time we started really looking into some of these deaths. Every time cancer, Wameli, a great man, a great lawyer, died, I would say mysteriously. Because I watched him make videos. I watched him while he was in the US. Even he said what he was being treated, he didn't know. He's gone. We are losing credible, good mind people that can help make our country better. Mama Jolie has also gone. I will still have question marks on that, but either way, we really need to think why our good people are going so fast. And then these bad ones are the ones jubilating, living longer, doing whatever they're doing with no remorse. We have lost prominent people. Someone talked about this guy, Onapito. He has also gone. Weird. It's weird. They will never say this, but she has gone in a weird way. And someone, I think, days back, watched it and said, there is no way if you've ever served in this system. It's like you have to go. Whether at one point they put you where, eventually they have to get you out. Whichever way, I do not know. If I'm being a conspiracy theorist, but me, my instincts tell me these are not just sudden death, guys. There's a silent demon that is eating out good people here deliberately. And as change-seeking Ugandans, guys, we should really, really be careful. To the rest of the leaders, they should really take heed in that. We can't keep losing people like this. I just pray that the good Lord, I know she's with the angels, and I pray her spirit and the spirits of the other Ugandans who have been struggling and sticking to the cause, they guide us through to our liberation. They guide us through to seeing that we get the Uganda we want. So I leave that guys, our people should really not take these things lightly. She has died, she has gone, and question marks are still there. Whether people keep quiet, they will always, those question marks are there. Onapito has also gone, question marks are there. Cancer, ekukwata munaku biri satu ngogeze, eyonganzi bunye ate. Anyways, we just pray that something, we pray for, if you had Mugisha Muntu's speech, you guys, it was in Nyankole. Anybody who had that speech should really reflect. Our country is sinking. It is sinking while the elders are quiet just because they're eating and they think they're safe. It is sinking, they're watching it sink. I don't know if they were bewitched, but whatever, it will also catch up with them. Now going back to Hassan. Hassan, thank you. Yes, for us, our cause is to make Uganda better. The cost of peace is war. And right now in Uganda, we have a war. We have an economic war. We have a freedom war, freedom of speech war. We have a war where it is survival. That is the war. We have not taken guns. We are struggling with a war within, a financial war, an economic war, a health war, an education sector war. Cut it across all sectors. That is why we are fighting right now. When someone says that we have peace, which peace? When someone cannot find what to eat. When someone can wake up and lose a job and they have nowhere to go. When someone can wake up and they can't access a healthcare system just because they do not have the money. When someone cannot bribe just to get an ambulance to rush them faster to the hospital. That is not peace. We have no peace. The peace is only for the privileged. We are at war because majority of our children are getting sham education. You tell me that our education sector is working when a budget of children in UPE and those USE schools, a UPE child is allocated 7,000 Ugandan shillings, not even Kenyan shillings, not even dollars, 7,000 Ugandan shillings per head per year. That kid to access education. What kind of education is that? And who is in charge of the education sector? Oh, the wife of Mr. Museveni. Who is the commissioner? The sister. Who is the board of directors, board of appointment board at the university? The son-in-law. I mean, for us, there's no freedom here. We have no peace. The taxes are so high. People's lands are being grabbed. People are being tortured, abducted, killed for just speaking out. And you say someone thinks we have freedom, we have peace. That is not peace. That is slavery. It's slavery, modern day slavery. When majority of our working youth are busy going to Asian countries, to Arab countries, to just look out for work. And they're exploited. People's organs are being taken away from them. People come back with missing organs, both here at home, even abroad. And no one is speaking for them. The very government that would be speaking for them is the very government indulging in those things. And then someone thinks we have peace. There is no peace. When someone can wake up and be shot dead, broad daylight, and nothing happens to the person who has killed that person just because they are associates of the regime. That is not peace. That is fear. We are in fear. The gun violence that is around. So many people, our leaders, so many prominent leaders have been shot dead. Justice has never been served. Somalia, yes, needs justice. But for us, we are trying to fight the justice back at home because we know the problem we have. Yes, Museveni is the Western puppet. Yes. But now we're trying to deal away with that very leader because we want charity begins at home. We want to cleanse our house. Then we'll have better leaders who will think we'll have better solutions for Africa. We cannot live in a country where foreigners come here. While Ugandans are accommodating to them, they thrive, they make businesses just because those foreigners are affiliates of the regime. You are talking of petrol stations. I think, Hassan, you know the owner of some petrol station called Rubis. I don't need to talk that much. I mean, we know all these, but these are all businesses owned by people who are affiliates to the state. But they are not helping the wananchi, the common person. And then someone thinks we have peace. No, we are being enslaved in our own country, where speaking has become fear. Like when you speak, you're scared. Who's following you? Who's calling you? Who's watching over you? When you see young people here, it's a representation of so many people out there that cannot even come on these spaces. It's the courage, because we want an East African that is better. We want a Uganda that is better. But right now, it is not. And we are seeing, if we do not do something about it now, we are doomed. If Uganda is not better, I can guarantee you, not even Somalia will be better. Not even our brothers in Kenya will be better. Not even our brothers in Tanzania will be better, because we have common enemies within. That's why for us, we are saying we are not even waiting for 2026. We want to do whatever we can do right now. Yes, 2026 is there, but we are trying to do our best right now because we have no time, because our country is sinking. Guys, if you had the speech of Mugisha, Mugisha Muntu, even if you didn't know Lunyankole, you would really understand what the gentleman was talking about. These people who think because you're having a car, you're having a good home, you're staying in the suburbs, Kololo, Munyonyo, Muyenga, so you feel like, yeah, you're in Chira, you feel that's it, man. You're living a short-term strategy. You're living in denial and pretense that all is well. It's not well. If majority of the people are not well, you're just pretending. You're on a time bomb. You cannot be the only millionaire in a village of almost 20,000 people and you think you're safe. You're not safe. And that's not the Uganda we want. We want a Uganda that enables everyone, even if they are millionaires, but yes, we want a Uganda where everyone is able to do something for themselves. That is what they call peace. The ability to add an extra wunga, I think Hassan, you know Swahili, an extra ugali on your plate and skuma. But if people are feeling the state in their pockets, what do you expect? The youth have finished school, there are no jobs. Even when they try to start up something, the state goes into their pockets with so many high taxes, making it hard for them. What do you expect that young man is going to do? When he speaks, he's against the state, he's against the law. The same law that tells us we have to speak, because everything we do, everything the people in Uganda are doing are within the law. So someone is not going to think that for us, we are going to look at the West first. We are dealing with the problem, the root cause here at home first. We are dealing with a 40-year-old man who is creating a dynasty, who is creating a deliberate system that impoverishes people. People go to Karamoja, people are dying of hunger. Yet it's a region in Uganda with lots of minerals. They are being killed there. No one is talking about it, not even the mainstream media in Uganda. It's only once in a while they come up with one story or that. This is the Uganda, and someone thinks we have this. We have war. We have an economic war. We have a health sector war. We have an education sector war. We have a business war. High taxes. What do you expect this young man to do? You, Hassan, you're in the UK. You very well know the cost of sending money back at home. In Uganda, it's worse. It's like you're even paying 2 times more or even half of what you're sending if you do not see that. So we are trying to make our country better. We are trying to rise to the occasions because we do not want to reach the ages of our parents in 50s, in 60s, and our kids ask us, what did you do when you saw the country sinking? I believe that is the question Somalis are asking themselves in Somalia. That is why the likes of the Al-Shabaab, the group of the young people, are doing whatever they're doing because their parents, their generation failed to guide those young men and women into the right cause. Had they directed them to the right cause and given a country a sense of direction and not have self-entitlement to own everything, Somalia wouldn't be where it is. It wouldn't be having warlords. It wouldn't be having leaders who are dealing just to survive. It would be a good country right now. Museveni wouldn't even be sending his army there, you know? But because the voices of reason in society always keep quiet when these things are happening, the country sinks while they're quiet because they are dining with the system. To them, they feel it's nothing, it's none of their business. It's their business. Guys, let's not wait for 2026. 2026 is there. Whatever we want to get, we start now. The tomorrow you want starts now. Because remember, today is the yesterday you are longing for tomorrow. Guys, I encourage you guys, if you took time to listen to Mugisha Muntu's words yesterday, they should really give us a reflection. Something is not right in Uganda. And it cannot be the young people seeing this while our elders are quiet. It should be the elders seeing it and guiding the young people. But the elders are acting the opposite. And they want the young people. You imagine elders encouraging corruption. And they tell you, no, it's not bad to steal, it's okay. You know, you're just hungry, come here, I give you a job. That's what they're doing to our young people. Because to them, they feel like you silence the truth by giving someone something. And that's not how a society develops, man. We want to create a Uganda where institutions work. We want a Uganda where justice works. Whether you're who or you're from where, it doesn't matter. The justice will be served according to the law. We want a country where the security respects the dignity of humanity, regardless of your affiliation to anyone or to any political party or to, like, this is the Uganda we want. And we can achieve it, and we are working on it, and we will get there. It's something that comes with a cost, but we are going to get there. So we do not have peace, my friend. We do not have peace because we have no leverage to even say we have peace. What peace are you going to talk about when you have rent? Young people have rent bills on their cases. When someone is thinking about the next gig for the day, is this the life you want the young people to live? Like, you know, when someone is worried about the taxes, the URA coming to confiscate their goods just because they have not paid taxes. While Ugandans are suffering, a few companies of the elites, a few companies of those affiliated to the system, they do not pay taxes. They live well. Those are the ones enjoying. Yet majority, 98%, are languishing in poverty, in economic hardships. And then someone says, there's peace. When education in Uganda is becoming so expensive, guys, how does a child in kindergarten pay almost 1 million shillings? University. Like, we are seeing these things happening in a private. They have killed the whole education system, promoted their schools, and are making education very hard. So we are not going to let these things happen. We are going to keep speaking, and we will not stop. I hope you also encourage the people in Somalia to speak as well, and also other neighbors. It's high time we made East Africa better. Everyone is starting with their household. We are starting with our household, and we will not relent. Thank you, good girl. I beg to submit on that, and thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Martin, for that detailed submission. I don't know if my host is there. I kind of can't accept the mics. I have, please accept. Just help me accept the mics, and then we can go on. Yeah. And I'm also going to add a voice to Martin's voice and say we should not wait for 2026 because Dr. James said, it's only false that repeat what happened. Here, what happened in 2021, 2016 will happen again because it's the same fucking body, it's the same appointing authorities, nothing has changed. And all these electoral reforms that they're peddling is bogus because if they cannot change the only thing that can change anything is the appointing authority. Even if we have, I don't care what reforms, nothing can change as long as we have the appointing authority being the same. No one can. You remember that time during the 2021 elections, there was Afande Kasinje, there was that guy of prisons, Yabashija, there was who was the head of police that time. They were just seated at the electoral commission, I think, and they were laughing on TV. I think the TV went on and they were laughing, mocking and saying, can you imagine if they actually announced Bobby Wine and you think he can take over? That's why most times people always ask themselves, why is Afande Kasinje, why are people always against Afande Kasinje? Why are always people talking ill about him? It was during this time, before those who have been here for some time know that he was a darling around here and he was the president of Ugandans on X, But during that time, his veil fell off, he was mocking Ugandans. Do they actually think that we can announce a different person, He was heading police then, by the way. He was head of police because he was an IGP. So as long as we still have people like that and we have the same appointing authority and the army being, vocal and saying we support so you saw what Kolaija was saying a few days ago in a video saying we've got to be partisan, we've got, army has got to have a side. So I don't think we can have a fair and free election. So waiting for 2026 is, taking ourselves into a time bomb. And away from all that, knowing that we have people who are still in prison because of the previous elections, and then we want to go back to the same elections, I think we are being stupid and hopeless. We have a new speaker. I don't know. I've not seen her before. She's called Miss Trans, something that I can't read. If you can hear me, unmute your mic and speak to us, please.
Hi, everyone. Hello. Nice to meet you. I've just come in because I have a couple of friends who live in Uganda, and they run orphanages in Uganda, and I just wanted to have more understanding why there are so many orphanages in the country and how we can help them more. So I worked with a charity last year to try and help him to buy land for him, and so he can look after the children in his orphanage and to grow crops in the land. And last year we actually tried to help him to find a tractor so he can work the land better. So his name is called Mandela, and he has a farm orphanage, and I just wanted to have more of an understanding, really.
Chance, where are you talking from? Which country are you from?
I'm from London. London? In the UK?
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
You said you want to know why the country has more orphans. I don't know if there's anyone who can answer her, anyone who can give her a better understanding of the situation. Please put your hands up so that you answer
her. Let me say something shortly. I think before I say something, thank you for joining the space, Tran, and please mute your mic so that we don't give any listeners feedback. So why we have orphanages in Uganda? You need to understand the history of Uganda first. We do not just have peaceful transition of power. Before dictator Museveni, there has been war to give power. When Museveni, do you know who Museveni is, Tran?
No, you can tell me.
Okay, Museveni is the dictator in Uganda who has been in power for over 40 years. And he is being funded by some of the taxes you pay as a citizen of UK. UK government is one of the biggest funders of dictator Museveni in Uganda. He's been in power for over 38 years. Yeah, I'm 30 years old, and I've never seen another president in my life. Okay, why we have so many orphanages? I want to answer that because personally, I have worked with orphanages. We have a lot of people who give birth and they are not able to take care of those kids. We have a lot of death from lack of medicine, lack of hospitals, lack of professionals. We have a lot of death from Museveni's wars. We have a lot of refugees that Museveni hosts in Uganda. When they go to make war in Congo, the people who run from Congo, they come to Uganda. When he goes to make war in Somalia, the people from Somalia, Eritrea, Ethiopia run to Uganda. Those people, when they reach in Uganda, they find no medicine, no hospital, no employment opportunity. What happens? Prostitution, HIV spread, death, cholera, and then as a result, you have an accumulation of infants, young kids on streets begging. Museveni in Uganda has gone to region per region committing atrocities. He's gone to the northern part of Uganda, which is called the Karamoja region. He has displaced people out of there. He has put fake war there, whereby he kills the people and he makes someone to be like the one who is killing. In other words, he frames people. He goes in a region like Kasese, he kills people, and then he says it is ADF. You know, he goes to a region like Congo, he kills people, and he says it is M23. But what is he doing killing people? He's getting these lands freed, he's getting the minerals out of those lands, he's transporting them through the routes, taken where? To the UK, to the United Arab Emirates, to the USA. So what happens? We get a lot of people coming in the country trying to help because there is an influx of orphans who have no parents and all that. I want to tell you, Tran, that we appreciate your generosity. But you need to understand, honestly speaking, Uganda could be richer than UK in terms of mineral resources, okay? The reason why we are poor as Africa, as Ugandans, it's because we have poor leaders who are puppets, all right? And what happens is these leaders, what they do is they do not, who is muting? Who is muting? These leaders do not actually, they do not put in implementation what they suggest. We had people like Idi Amin who did things, great things for a country, Uganda, and he was named a dictator by the UK because Idi Amin did not like the UK. He was African, and he ruled Uganda for 8 years, just 8 years. But we have a dictator who has been in power for over 38 years, and UK does not consider that as dictatorship. UK still has the audacity to have an embassy in Uganda. UK still has the audacity to fund the same person for over 30 years. So what am I telling you this? It's not like I blame you. I just want to make you, I just want to make you understand, as international friends, you need to understand that much as we are suffering as Africans trying to liberate ourselves, the guns that are killing us are not manufactured from Africa. The people that fund these warlords are not from Africa. It is that passion that makes us speak loud, speak up, but not towards any individual. Because we know by the fact joining this space, trying to inquire, it is good, it is a good gesture. And we know not all international community is against the development of Africa and Uganda in particular. However, we want to send a message to your governments, to your senators who make these decisions, that they need to deassociate themselves. They need to stop working and giving deals to a corrupt system. You know, you need to stop funding and giving us charity, knowing our governance will not implement those things you fund for because they are corrupt. So it's very good to have you on this space. I hope, personally, I did not want my audience to indulge in that because it would have totally diverted us into talking about the existence of orphanages in Africa. But we know why Uganda in particular, we have a lot of orphanages. We have an influx of refugees who are not even well given the resources they deserve. We have a lot of citizens who are misplaced from their ancestral lands. We have a lot of death from the recklessness of the government officials. As we speak, we have over 100 people who died from garbage. Do you get that? Because there is so much garbage, it fell and covered people's homes, and people suffocated and died in their homes. And the government came out and told us that the garbage wiped out over 90 houses, but only 30 people died. You understand? So misinformation, you know, there is a lot, but I hope I have answered you and given you, you know, a clear picture. I will submit now. Mike, back to you, my co-host.
Thank you so much. I know, Tran, you want to say something. Hope they answered you, but I'm going to give you a chance in case you want to ask something so that he can thoroughly get back to you. And if you didn't understand anything, I'll chip in to help you understand. So you have the mic again.
I just want to say thank you for explaining that to me. And I'll just say that keep holding spaces on X and just share out your information. The United Nations is on this web, on X. Everybody that you need to contact is on X. Just reach out to them and just try to get help, you know. I know it's hard. I just want to say that, you know, there's 600 million people on X. I'm sure there's someone that can help as well, you know. Thank you.
Thank you, China. Thank you for helping our orphans. We really appreciate all of you who put in some effort to help, because we need a lot of help around here. But like you already explained, it is your taxpayers' money that actually is keeping and facilitating more orphans on board, because the UK injects lots of money into our suffering. And that's what we always call on to the UK, that we don't need help. We just need you to stop funding our oppression, because when they give the money, instead of doing what they're doing, and I hope the money that you're giving for orphans, you follow up and it is doing what it is doing, because I mean, this country is a big mess. Like you already explained, you send money for different things, maybe healthcare, it is used to buy guns, facilitate those who create more orphans, again, for you guys to again, you know. So it is a vicious circle that we need to break, all of us, including ourselves and yourselves, because it is your taxes that actually fund our oppression. And that's what we are calling the UK every single day, to tell them, please, do not fund our oppression. And of course, as taxpayers, you also have a big stake, because the money they send here is your money. So yeah, that is it. I hope you understood. If you don't have any questions or any queries, we could move on to the next speaker. Charles, you have anything to say?
I just want to say the money did go directly to Mandela himself. So the money went directly to him for his orphanage that we raised last year. So just want to say that.
Right. Then thank you for helping. Mujimachi, you want to say something before we go to the next speaker?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think what she's asking is more of a person. How do we get to look out for Mandela and the whole of 45 million Ugandan people here? So it's hard. That one, I think maybe she's on the wrong platform because she's specifically looking out for a gentleman called Mandela.
No, she's not looking. No, she's. She was actually asking why you have many orphans. Are you in any way want to know who Mandela is? You have all the information you need. I don't know. Did I miss something?
No, Mandela is a friend of mine who runs the orphanage in Uganda. So he's a really good friend of mine.
All right. Thank you so much. I hope he's doing a good job, and really thank you again. So yeah, as Casey was saying, as Ugandans, we can't wait for 2021. I mean, for the next general election, because it's going to be useless. Because last time we went into an election, we won. They stole the election, they rigged, and now they're bringing in the reforms. So it's not going to work. It's not going to work. We have to find other means. And of course, one of the things that has kept this regime moving is the donations from the foreign funds that keep sending in lots of money that is not used to do what they're supposed to do. So calling on international community is really important. But of course, as we call the international community, we need to do other groundwork. As Ugandans, we have to understand that it is a country, it is our moral authority to do what we're supposed to do. So yeah, I'm going to take you all back to Adam Dada's suggestion that we've got to find activities that we can do. We have to protest. And of course, prepare for the protest that will be on the 9th of October. We have a few days to go. So yeah, we don't have a lot of time. We started speaking about this a few months ago or a few weeks ago. It looked like it was very far, but now we are almost on the 9th of October. So we don't have a lot of time. Whatever we have to do, we must do, and we must do it now. And then I think, Ellen, that I'm going to ask you to take back the mic and suggest the activities in particular that needs to be done. And elaborate more on what you really think we should be doing in the next week, starting, I think, day after tomorrow. I think that's the week you're talking about. So you have to take again the mic and explain to us your view, like which direction you want us to take in particular, so that we start, we see how we can plan, if it needs maybe funding, we see how we can raise funds, if it needs anything that needs to be done. So we need an actual work plan so that we can see what we have to do, because you all know that we don't have money. We have to do fundraising here and there. So yeah, we need to have a plan. If you make a suggestion, I suggest that you also talk about exactly what needs to be done, so that we can talk about it, and then to have how we pull funds and resources to do what we have to do, because we realize that there's nothing that can be done without actual resources and funds and all together put together in the right time, because also timing is very, very important to us. So yeah, I'm glad you're back. Speak to me.
Yes, thank you, good girl. I will do that. I think in 1 hour's time. I am not in a right time now, but in 1 hour's time I'll pick up the mic and I'll talk to that. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So today we are talking to the people of Western Uganda.
Good girl, I have a question for you.
Go on.
How do you say independence in Runyankore?
Independence. Really think too much. Independence no kwenu mu Luganda kiki independence yakija mu Luganda kike mu Runyankore. So kwago independence mu Luganda kiki. Amenunula. Bana kwago tali
Kyo okwenunula.
No. Amenunula okwenunula.
Byonna bitegeeza kigambo kye kimu. Amenunula okwenunula byonna kye kimu independence.
Okay.
Okwejambuwambe.
Sikimanyi mu Runyankore. Okwenunula pia nanchoka mu Runyankore pia na sikituufu.
I think Lukwago's suggestion.
Okay, kanchogere mu Luzungu, to be free, to be set free.
Exactly. Lukwago's suggestion is actually it's an explanation, like a process. That is the same thing I've been thinking, because I've been trying to make obulango
okwechumbura okwenunula no kwenunula amenunula kushara Runyankore.
Okwechungura.
Omuchunguzi is omununuzi.
Exactly.
So okwenunula akachungura akakochunguzi.
For us in Rutoro we just say okwechungura, but okwechungura, you get the differences in the tonation. Okwechungura. But that is
yes, okwechungura okwenunula
okwetongora.
Nenda okwetongora is
Abantu bavudde mu kamoli kwa kigambo. Guys, what is independence in your local languages? You know, that is the first one.
Obuchunguzi,
And the first side to show we are not independent. We are not
100%. How can we be struggling to know, actually? How can we be struggling to know what is obuchunguzi? Because I'm thinking obuchunguzi, okwechungula, okwenunula, amenunula, those are all dialects in the same word. But what is the actual word for independence? Mbageta amenunula, oba obuchunguzi.
Okwetengera, oba okwetengera, is it?
Akatagenda tubuza.
Banange nfuna oku interjectinga.
Ate munange tunagamba ki gwaliko buko.
Kakati nze nzijukidde Mama Jolly omugenzi afudde abadde agamba bannange bannayuganda tulina okwenunula. Kyemubaddeko kyomwogera kiri right, abadde akyogera nnyo ekigambo. I think it's to be independent.
Yeah, if I may say okwenunula, wouldn't it mean like we have to save ourselves or something like that?
Yes, okwenunula is saving ourselves.
Like
but it's the same as Uganda.
Yambe.
Yes.
Naye kyetwogerako kyekugamba independence kubanga kino ekigambo kitegeeza twayenunula dda. We are independent. Naye are we really independent if we cannot even get the right translation of this word in our mother tongue?
Mu Uganda empya wale bintu tulina okukyusa. Mwami Lukwago, I know you're a teacher. I don't know if you're a teacher. Oba nze nakitegeera obubi. Are you a teacher?
Silver yo muwe platform atubulira ayinza kuba akimanyi kubanga.
Anti agambye to be set free. To be set free.
No, we are talking about kwaka kifena kye tuli mu kwongerako is a process, okay? Tugamba nga mumaze okweyamba ne mwegiraagira ne mutuuka wali awali fino gamba independent. Kyongera kyatinze ndi free independent. Kyetwagala not amenunula, not the process but the actual
going, the facts into twenunudde.
Yes.
Banange tuli bawambe tukyali mbawambe nnyo. Can you imagine? Bino biswazi. Nze kampulire kanzirayo mu kamoli kange.
Silver, I have the mic. So first tell us if you.
Good afternoon, Western artists and all the good work you guys are doing. So in brief, I think in most languages, there was no specific word for independence, but you go back to Uhuru. So Uhuru in Kiswahili means freedom. So if there's a word in your language that means freedom, that's the nearest word that you can use for independence. Because, I mean, the villages those days, when it was Independence Day, people would say we're going to celebrate Uhuru. Yeah, that's what I can say.
So Silver Fox, you also don't have that word in your own dialect. Is that what you're saying? You also have the process, but not the actual word.
Yeah, so
he has the neighboring word.
There's no
for the record, Fox, which tribe are you?
Me. Oh, so like I said last time, I am from Doholo. So my dad is a Piwalani, okay, but my grandmothers, the Batoras and Randis, basically. Yeah.
Ogumwana w'omukabana w'omukabojo ati
omwana w'omuka tamanyire kigambo independence no w'omuka.
So we have to take you back, and I always tell for this history. Remember, the Langis were really, really good fighters. So when they crossed to go to Toro to destroy the Bachwezi, they did a great job. And remember when Kabaleka was running away from the British, he had to come to where he thought he could get the best defense. And that was in Doholo. So these guys, when they went to fight in Bunyoro, in Toro, they did abduct a lot of women. Okay. So those women then were brought back into Langoland. Okay. The sweet potato vine, like I told you last time, was a gift from Omukama to the guide of Lango those days. So we have that really serious connection. That's why you.
By the way, there's always a love for people from Lango with the people of Toro. It needs to be studied because there's so many intermarriages between those two people in particular that no one ever talks about. It needs to be studied. You really love each other, you guys from those places.
Banyankoles, they love Banyankoles. They love everybody from the West, to be honest, because it's this kind of corridor thing that you look at. All these were the corridor that had a lot of cows. So you come from Karamoja, come to Lao, cross to Bunyoro, come to Ishaka, those ends, go to Mbarara, up to down in Kabale. So those areas, there are lots of cows. Of course, in Buganda, in Bulemezi area, around that area, there were a lot of cows. So there's a lot of intermarriage, to be honest. And the truth of the matter is that, like I tell people, if UPC wanted to kill Museveni in those days, they would have killed him. But they didn't look at him as a threat. And that's where I always tell the guys that were in the war that you guys underlooked something that was very important. Yeah. But as I say, us and Toro and Mukama Kabalega, they are very, very strong bonds. Even with Kabaka Mutebi himself, they got very strong bonds. I mean, when I went to study, there are guys in Lango called Mwanga, and they're proud to be called Mwanga, but they don't even speak any single Luganda. Yeah.
Right. Silva, we were talking about the next general election, as you can see. As Western Uganda were saying, why we should not wait for 2026. So what is your take? Do you think we should wait for 2026? Do you think we should act now? And if you think we should act now, what can be done to make sure we don't even get to 2026? Because we are talking about the independence, and why you found us trying to figure out the word independence. It is the same question to keep asking yourselves, that year in and year out we're celebrating this, independence for certain people. And I think as Ugandan, we need to define what is independence to us. Are we really independent? And if we are not independent, it's been already 60 plus years of lying to us that we've been independent. And of course, if we feel we are not independent, what can we do? Should we just sit and wait and keep lying to ourselves that we're independent if indeed we are not? Or there's something that can be done? And of course, in that sense, I also want you to talk about the reason why we are here. Should we wait for 2026? Is it going to be different from what happened in the 2021 generation that just happened a few days ago? I don't know how time flies by so quickly that we're going back to another sham general election. So yeah, I want you to talk to those that I just mentioned.
Okay. So let me just take you back. I went to Makerere. I know a lot of people want to hear from me and they want to know who is this guy. So I went to Makerere between 98 and 2001. Okay. I've been at the forefront of fighting this regime since I was a child, to be honest. In 2020, when Kizza Besigye was campaigning in 2001, that election, we were in Maction Falls, okay? And we met Kakoza Mutale there for the first time. We were with our Senyondo, and we were there singing. It was like, we were like turning places. Kakoza Mutale made us swim. Some people were almost going to swim across the lake because the ferry was moving to come back this side, and the NRM guys were on the other side. So we had to run to the ferry and come. Now, the bigger question is, do you want to wait for 2026 or do you want to do it now? There are, I think, pros and cons to the debate. But for me, as I look at it, I don't want a situation where you go to the streets and a lot of kids are killed. That might not be a very good or wise cause. Okay. If you're going to go to the street, you need to go with more than, let's say, 10 million people. It's easy to overwhelm them. But you go with 3,000, 5,000, that's not going to work. The other thing that young people need to do, they need to start demonstrating from town to town. All these towns, don't focus on Kampala only. You have Entebbe, you have Mbarara, you have Kabale, you have Lira, you have Soroti, you have Gulu, you have Jinja, you've got Mbale. If there's a demonstration in every town, every day, they will not have enough resources, you understand, to send all the tear gas to all these places. They won't. So that's a good strategy. But don't focus on only Kampala. You need to spread your mobilization across the country to make sure that every young person comes to the street wherever they are. I don't know if that's a good suggestion. The other thing, of course, is that these guys in the army are going to shoot you guys and kill people. That I can tell you, okay? Because I happen to have some sources, my own sources, okay? And they're going to shoot people and kill people. And you don't want a situation like that. I don't want people to die. So what about 2026? My view of 2026 is very, very, I don't know. It's very important. There are three things that need to happen. One, the opposition in Uganda needs to unite. Whether it is Bobby Wine or Mukisha Muntu or Kizza Besigye or whoever, all these guys need to unite for one vote. Okay? Then they get one candidate that represents every Ugandan's aspiration and ambition. Then you go to the polls. Now, when you go to the polls, already young people have a majority. Okay? You need to go to the vote and mobilize everybody to vote. If you put like 20 million people to vote, NRM won't cheat. But if people don't go to the polls, and you've got a difference of 3 million, that's as good as useless. There's nothing that's going to happen in that election. It's going to be the same thing over and over and over. In 2010, I told the guys that there was no need for Uganda to have an election because all the money that we spend electioneering, we need to put this money into substantial use, infrastructure, education. I want to talk about education, healthcare, roads, all of these things. Why are we sending this money and wasting it in an election where the outcome is already being determined, right? So election in Uganda is useless. Even Museveni will say that it's useless. And I agree with him, it's useless. Now, it can only be meaningful if everybody goes to vote, right? And everybody participate to protect that vote and come to the street, right? Look at the previous match that was organized, right? Only a few people pitched up, okay? So what? And the people that pitched up, yes, they put in their body, they went to jail, they came out. Why are we not having the majority of the youth coming to the streets? Okay, maybe we need to go house to house, door to door. Okay, give leaflets, pamphlets. Okay, just for a small background, I was a Jehovah's Witness for a while, so I went door to door preaching the gospel when I was young. Okay, maybe that's a good strategy because you need to mobilize for a great cause. And the traders, for example, in Chikubo, right? Now that you got Chinatown in Uganda and they have been cut off from the economy, because now if I come to Kampala tomorrow, where am I going to go to buy something? If I want to wear something, I won't go to Chikubo. I won't go to where's that place where they used to sell clothes in next to the park there? Kayembe or Muyembe, something like that. Okay, I won't go there. I'll go to Chinatown where I feel like, okay, this is something similar to what I know. But what is the average trader in Chikubo going to do? What about a guy in we're not going to do St. Balkudembe's market? What are those guys going to do? Those are the guys that actually own the real economy, right? And those are the guys that are suffering to put their kids to school every other day. So we need those guys to participate. We need their kids to participate. That's very important. Yeah. I think I'll talk a bit later. Maybe people can critique what I've just said. And
yeah. Yeah, thank you so much.
I can go on and on for the whole day. Yeah.
I know you. Yeah, thank you so much. Kindly mute your mic. Thank you for speaking to us. I hope you speak around. Door to door. Of course, we need mobilization. That is also true. But I think the biggest challenge that we've had in Uganda, the other day I was speaking to this same thing, is we all understand we need to do mobilization, we need to do the stickers, we need to do this. But unfortunately, Ugandans that actually have money don't like funding these things. And those that want to do them don't have the money. This has been, I think, the biggest challenge that we've faced so far is we don't have funds, we don't have resources. And of course, this limits our reach. And the funny thing is, Ugandans, the few Ugandans that are trying to do something, we will do what we can do in our capacity. And those who have not done actually anything or helped in any way will always come and blame the few that have, done what they have done. Like they always question, like, why are you very few? Why are you not here? Why did you not do this? But in actual sense, people should be asking themselves if these young men and women have enough resources to do the mass mobilization so that we can have mass gatherings. No, they never ask themselves these essential and, of course, very important questions. Because, how would I tell my people in Barra without resources? It means if I have to tell them, I either have to move there physically or I have to send their flyers. And if I send their flyers with the guy that I know have the capacity to move them around, or will also sit with them because they don't have enough resources. So I think there's no revolution that is not funded. And I think as Ugandans, if we need to move forward, we've got to work together. Those who have all the resources in terms of the money should be able to fund those that have the time and energy to do these things. But we are lacking even that little togetherness to understand that, okay, Precious can speak, the other one can walk, and the other one can finance, We just have a lot of time to blame each other, but of course we all know what to do, Recently we had, like a previous speaker said, we had a demonstration. And of course, this demonstration was done by the youth, and it was mainly in the city centers. Why was it in the city centers? Because it is the rich that we could actually afford. Because as we're starting, we are very deliberate and saying, we don't need funds. We will just try to do as much as we can do. Everyone try to do what you can do, bring on table what you can do. And of course, Uganda did the little they could do. But to my surprise, many other Ugandans that never even took time to come and listen, never took time to come and say, hey guys, we heard you're doing ABC, how can I help? I'm not here, but how can I help? Where can I touch? None. Until most people were arrested and we still came back to them and said, guys, we need a little bit of funding to get our guys out. We need lawyers, we need this. And that's when some people decided, yeah, we can try to put some funds together. But I think if we need something that really works and organized and pre-planned, like of course you're saying that we should be able to empower people to come out and guard their votes, to be, to be able to, if anything happens, people should rise up and assert their voices. We all want this, but the issue is how are we going to do all this without enough mobilization? And of course, mobilization does not just, because I know speaking here in space, I'm speaking to the same people, but there are people who need to actually, like Adada was suggesting, who really need to put their boots on the ground and do the groundwork. But all this cannot be done without money. So yeah, all this we will speak, all we will do, but of course we cannot stop speaking until we can listen to each other.
Can I interject a bit? So I agree with you. I think what you need to do now is to open a CSO. I don't know how you guys call it in Uganda now. It's some form of NGO. So open an NGO, give it a name, deepening democracy, whatever name you want to give it. Okay? Then market it. Okay? I will send you some contacts that could help in terms of giving funding. Once you have an organization, because remember, all these Western countries also, they don't want to give money to individuals. They want to give money to organizations. Okay? So get a group, form a name, give it a name,
Get a bank account, get all of those stories together, send the papers. We shall send around to people that can help. Thank you.
Right. Okay. That also helps a lot. Actually, that helps a lot than just. Yes. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to ask Silva, do you think as Ugandans we are at a level where we need funding so much? Because I feel, I mean, if we were that strong and organized and we lack maybe resources and facilitation, that would be a different discussion right now. For us, I think we have been misled, misinformed for so long, and the few brave people who try to speak for us, sometimes because of ignorance, we abuse those same people, we attack them. So funding an ignorant person, don't you think it could also turn out to be disastrous? Because it takes me to that question. Do you think as the mindset of Ugandans is at a level where they can even manage the finances that might come out, and also to understand the implications related to these finances? Because when we fight corruption, one of the things we tried to avoid was finances. And when the financial issue and accountability came up, Ugandans had mixed reactions. A lot of confusion came up, which clearly shows you that people are not yet at a level where they can ask for accountability without really fronting their personal interests and gain. So we try to stay away from money. And the regime has also used it like we source for finances from abroad and all that. But I think what you say, it is an important point. Yes, we could need financing, but for what? Because at the moment, we have been using the little finances we have as individuals, adding it together to do something. But we have even problems of even people doing things that don't need finances. You understand me? We have issues of people doing things that do not involve finances. So most of the time, the financial card has been used to actually divide us, oppress us. I don't like giving it a lot of attention. However, instead of coming on this space and you tell us to do it, I would recommend you do it and we follow in your footsteps and we come and join you, because you might have more experiences. You have those contacts already. But if you throw it to Ugandans to do it, you're going to bring another topic of discussion. The regime might even use that to exploit us, because we as Ugandans are not yet there mentally to understand that, yes, we need finances. How can we play around that issue? How can we not be diverted? So in your own understanding, do you think we are ready to be financed? Do you think we can understand the meaning of these finances without really satisfying our personal shallow interests? That is my question to you.
Okay, so thanks for your contribution there. And I agree with you what you're saying. The problem in third world countries is accountability. And when people are given money to do certain things, then they go and do other things. But do not undermine the need for resources, because even right now you need resources to be on X. First of all, you gotta buy data. You need to probably a good smartphone, right? That can help you communicate with people. Okay, you need to print posters. Okay, you need to do messaging to the youth. All of those will need resources to do that. You need fuel to move up and down. So yes, you need financing. Museveni was financed. Without him being financed, the truth is you can't win a war without money. The problem in Uganda and in Africa is that, like you said, people use these resources not for the greater good, you understand, but for their own selfish interest. And that's where the problem is, that everybody has now become corrupt to an extent that you cannot trust anybody with money, right? However, in the bigger scheme of things, you will need money. You will need money to finance any cause. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. You guys in Uganda know about Bobby Wine. You know about Chameleon. You know about what's the other guy? Zoena's husband, Bebe Cool, right? When I used to work in Uganda, I'm going to tell you the company, right? Those guys used to come for financing. We literally built them up. Bobby Wine, Chameleon, and Bebe Cool. And they raised the music standard. And now there are people that are the leaders in Uganda, as we speak right now. They're the leaders that you guys are looking for. The NRM guys are looking towards Bebe Cool. The opposition guys are looking towards Bobby Wine. But imagine that those days, the corporate organization did not fund them. Where could have they been? Nowhere. So funding is still important. The issue is, how do you leverage on this funding and how do you use these resources? It's also very difficult to get a human being work without any motivation, right? When people go for demonstration, can we have Coca-Cola, for example, having cold drinks for people to drink as they move? You can sing on an empty stomach, right? Can we have the whatever company that you got distributing water there to give people water? Okay. Can you have the Wananchi giving someone food to eat? Trust me, brother, it's going to be difficult for you to go on an empty stomach and demonstrate. That's the sort of of funding that I want to happen, but also on a bigger, on a larger organizational strategy. Having offices, for example, right? Having transportation, okay? All of those things will need money. Yeah, maybe you can I don't, but I still think that funding is important because there is no cause that has ever succeeded without money. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Silva. Maybe, not to make my host uncomfortable. He has issues with money, and I get it, and I really get it where he's coming from. But I still side with Silva that there is no movement without money. Everything has to move because people have plans, but without money, nothing really moves. Even the work that actually say that doesn't need money, like moving posters or putting them, and someone of course will think of like, we'll always, think twice than if you give someone some money to go and do it actually. But anyway, we are building something, but I really understand. Maybe we'll have some space for that, talk about funds and all together, so that we don't make you my host uncomfortable because I really understand you. I know now you're very upset. I'm killing your vibe with all this, but bear with me. Lukwago, you have something small to say, and then maybe we can redirect the conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, I wanted to add on what Bring Back said and Mr. Silva. The fact is that we need resources, whether money, whether those placards, what and what. But as of now, since we are dealing with a rebel who is Museveni, he crossed all the NGOs, okay, the non-government organization, which is suspected that they were funding opposition. Even he went far overboard by enacting a law exempting external funding in Uganda, that political parties must be funded by government through the Electoral Commission, depending on the numeric strength of MPs you have in the parliament. That is it. So, Mr. Silva, here in Uganda, as of now, we are on the level of every Ugandan, anyone who wish Uganda the best to do whatever at your disposal. Because now what is ranking is a think tank. A think tank can help to awaken these Ugandans. You might wake up one day when they are the one doing their best to fund whatever may see them hosting Museveni out of power. But they are not informed. They are totally living in denial. And such as civic spaces are now trying to awaken, okay? To awaken us, okay? The mainstream media is doing the job of diverting Ugandans very well. So if we come up with the technological advancement where we are leveraging now on the use of social media, and there is a Mr. Silva who is suggesting that, yes, it is true. Gudugaro asked, what can we do? Let me take you to Sudan and how they get rid of Bashir. It all started with the Sudanese outside who were abroad. The Sudanese professionals. They started mobilizing themselves from whichever abroad countries they were. They opened up accounts. They opened up an NGO, which they termed as the Sudanese professionals. And that's when the Americans jumped onto them, infiltrated the army. That's how, on the days when they were protesting, NIS, which is RSF, actually the army that was protecting Bashir, tried to shoot at civilians. Then this normal army that had already been infiltrated by Ahmed Dagaro's army, which is RSF today, exchanged bullets with NIS. That's how Bashir was dealt with. But it had to take a concerted effort to solve Sudanese who were outside. They mobilized the different superpowers for their cause. That's what Gudugaro we should talk about. How do we define Museveni's capacity to maneuver within international politics? They have already asked a question. And Bring Back a talked about refugees, influx of refugees into our country. We were on Kennedy's space that normally premieres on Friday. A woman who identified herself as a White House correspondent, okay, asked us to ask her questions. Then I asked her, why are you supporting Museveni and Kagame when they are violating human rights in their respective countries? The lady said that Kagame is enjoying the US. Kagame and Museveni are enjoying UK and US's support simply because they are helping them in resettling refugees. Okay? Resettling refugees. They pay them huge chunks of money to resettle those, actually to shelter those refugees you are seeing from Congo, from Somalia, from Eritrea, even those who came from Afghanistan. If you recall very well, US and UK pay them. So good girl, with a team of Ugandans, how can we engage USA and the UK to stop that? Okay? We know very well Museveni gives US, UK, European Union, United Nations soldiers. This army we have, these are soldiers of fortune at the services of those superpower I've mentioned. How can we curtail that? How can we defang that? That's what we should focus on. So, Mr. Silva, if you are not in Uganda, it is incumbent upon you And those Ugandans who wish well for Uganda to form that NGO outside Uganda. Okay? Because the Sudanese did it and they called it Sudanese professionals. But come to Uganda, the professionals, where are they? Yeah? That's when I talk about intellectual dishonesty and betrayal. And now we are here. We are calling ourselves everything. Intellectual, hooliganism, misfit, sick, hereticy, pundits. So, because if we keep quiet, nothing we shall yield. Let us impose ourselves as intellectuals, if need be. So, if there is need for creation of a think tank, now for me, I'm incapacitated, but I know if it is created, I can put something on it. But when you talk about it, Uganda is KRS. When this lady called the Docas, with Uganda is breeding, tried to help out to Karamoja. The money who was like, Karamoja is breeding, just extorted the money from her. Once she sent money to him, the guy went off internet up to today. Those who used to attend our spaces with Uganda is breeding. He has never resurfaced again. So those are the Ugandans. That's why I have liked to bring back as assertion that is anything to do with money, my friend. It will divide us. Okay? Nicolas Opio is running an NGO, but he's always in court. To have to hire this lady Agatha on Capital Gang, whereby she was talking about of how Isaac Asemakade is also running an NGO, but he has never tabled how he's running it. Accountability. So you educated the Ugandans who are outside. Please do the needful. Do the needful. The population you are dealing with is of a gullible, docile, sensation society. And Bobby Wine came to awaken us. That is the problem. And we are doing it pretty very well. As I can tell you that 20% of Ugandans at least have awakened. That is it I had to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lukwago. Yeah. I will not add or subtract anything to that because that was not for me alone, it was for all of us. We deserve better. If you can hear me, Robert, unmute and speak to us.
Okay,
Thank you, good girl.
let me say something small, right?
Am I loud and clear?
We deserve better. Just a minute. Let's have Silva say something because I think most of the conversation from Lukwago was kind of directed to him. Okay, you'll have a minute, Silva, to respond to.
I agree with what Lukwago has said. In fact, that army in Uganda that you see now, there are lots of children who have joined the army from every part of the country. The elites in the forces will one day have to face those kids, whether they like it or not. So that's one point that is going to come. Now, for the whole bring back, I can understand why you are apprehensive about funding and money, because money is also a very, very divisive thing. And that's why I'm going back to accountability. You have a good heart and a good vision for the children, for the young kids of Uganda. And that's why you created this space. So tomorrow, if you receive some funding, I'm not sure you're going to wake up and squander it and disappear. I don't see that sort of quality in you. I see someone who has taken it upon himself and the other youth around to mobilize. So if you're given resources, you're going to use these resources and put it to the best of its use, right? Talk about Atuhaire. When Atuhaire was attacked on X about accountability, I came out first and said, look here, when USAID gives you money, they give you money for a specific cause, and Atuhaire has to go back to USAID and give an accountability of how she has used that money. And if she doesn't give proper accountability, then the funding will be cut. So yes, we need money. You need to use the money well to support the space itself and to support everybody and to support the bigger strategy that you're trying to deploy. Thank you.
Yes, my co-host, I think you're muted. Guys, to just put these things into proper context, we deserve better. Just in a minute, I think I agree. We need finances. We just need to be very, very smart on how we apply it. Secondly, we do not need front financing in this fight. We need Ugandans to understand the values of why we choose to fight back. And once they understand that, with or without finances, they will fight. They must fight because we must fight back. Simanyi, maybe we are not oppressed on the same levels, guys. But nze china kuwaza nnyo kulira Uganda yetaaga ayambibwe. You know, there are some finances that I can understand. If you give someone money to transport flyers, that is good. I have been personally financing lots of activities that benefit my goals as an individual in this fight, and also the goals that we fight for as united people. However, we have reluctancy with some Ugandans who, even when they are funded, they will not do what is required. We have different mindsets. We have Bali who are too much educated. They don't want to even listen. We have these ones who have been lied for 40 years. They fear everything. When you hear Lukwago saying that the population is docile and all that, so it is important we don't go to the population with money this, money that. It's important we go to the population with objectives, and once there is need for financing, there are already established structures to do that. So I partly agree with you, Silva, 100%. There is no complete revolution without resources. And I'm not saying we should not tolerate that. However, for me, I'm someone who is at the level that I don't need finances to fight. Why? Because maybe I'm in a position where my kind of fighting doesn't need that facilitation. But I'm also in a position where I know someone who is fighting for the same cause who needs that finance, and I step up and maybe I provide. So yes, we need to finance. However, what destroyed me after that accountability discussion on Agora and Atuhaire, Agatha, it's because of how weak-minded people are. It's how you see Ugandans consuming the information. They turn against each other very rapidly. It's like you forget even the main cause. When it is like that, then it is actually a very, very docile, gullible society. I think some of us should always be too focused to be distracted by small, petty issues of finance this, finance that. So I understand there are bigger goals. There are bigger organization levels we need to achieve. But we are on the mission to do that because we are already having these conversations. So please don't leave this space, Silva, thinking like we underestimate what you're saying or we don't understand it. We 100% understand it. However, I still believe, as of now, I have a lot of work to do as someone from Western Uganda to continue telling people of Western Uganda that before you even start thinking of being financed, do you know why you need to do what you should do? Do you know you need to fight the dictatorship? Do you know you don't have medicine because of poor appropriation of the resources we already have? So that when they understand that you can finance a group of people that are going to move without a lot of friction, a lot of commotion, confusion, you're going to have a group of people who are not going to just move because there is finances. But even when there are no finances or there is limitation somewhere, they are willing to continue moving. That unbroken spirit is what I'm talking about. Otherwise, thank you. I understand your point of view, and we shall look into it.
So just 1 second, right? You see, the financing that I'm talking about, I'm not saying we need to go to the villages and buy people. The sort of financing that I'm talking about is the mobilization part of it, the strategy part of it, for you to move from one point to the other point. And I think now we're sort of coming together and agreeing on what kind of financing we're looking for. For you to print posters, for you to move from, let's say, from
there were people suggesting we need to have a public address system and like a mobile
so things
van.
like that.
Yeah.
Things like that. Not to go and give it money to the population. Oh, this is money. No, it cannot work. Like PDM. I told the guy that I know in the government to go and tell Sarah that PDM was a failure. Because with PDM, what they should have done was first to do research and then they implement. You don't come with money and then you start dishing it around without actually understanding what is the need of the population. You haven't carried out that research. So then what's the point? So most of the generals are actually saying it's failing. But for them on a public platform, they want to tell you that, oh, we are succeeding. No, they're not succeeding. It's failed. PDM has failed 100%. So the money that needs to be given to spaces like these is to help you in your broader strategic mission. Buy a public address system, get a good cell phone, get a camera, XY, things like that. Document this, type this, Yeah. Thank you.
Well said, comrade. Well said. Thank you.
Well,
We deserve better. Sorry for the delay. The mic is yours, good girl, as you bring in the next speaker. Thank you. Thank you, Silva.
I think thank you, Silva, for making my host really comfortable on my behalf. Yeah, because he really those things really killed this movement, and I really, really get it, and I know what he really where he's coming from, and of course, I'm glad that we learned that stages, because now. Okay, Paul, I was saying I'm glad that some things actually, it's good that they happen in the starting stages, because now we know better. We know how to trade, and we can trade better, of course. And we know what to say and not what to say whenever we need something. So it's good that it also happens so that we've learned something from it. We deserve better. The mic is yours, and take one, please.
Okay, thank you, good girl. Am I loud and clear? Am I okay? Thank you. Yeah. To on the point of Silva, anyway. Yeah, it's true. We need finances. It's very important in this movement. Yeah, actually, most activities get stalled because we lack finances. But remember, this government enacted a law called Political Party Organization Act that restricts foreign fundings. So those are the challenges some of the opposition face. So we call upon anyone willing to find better ways of how they can fund the cause. The reality on the ground, Mr. Silva Fox, is the Electoral Commission belongs to NRM. Electoral reforms have always been pushed since 2014. Organizations have been pushing. There was an organization called iPod to try to push. And the good thing the regime did was to change the electoral commission to independent electoral commission. That's all the country benefited. This regime has monetized elections. For me to contest, or for you, bring back our people, good girl, to contest as an MOP, you need around 500 million. You get. But now who has the money? The state. You get. So those are the challenges why we've been having more MPs than more MPs in the opposition. Because the system has monetized politics, and the masses are also have been cornered in a way that they expect something to vote you, So the ground is not leveled. The environment, the political environment is so toxic, In 2005, the president lifted the term limit, in his favor because his term of presidency was about to elapse, So the ground basically is not straight, So things can't work in a straight way. We are not democratic, We are being pushed in something else, whereby now the voters are not empowered actually to influence anything. Remember, recently we had an issue with 500 million from MMP in Puga. The country cried out, but what was the result? Is he out of parliament? I mean, did he drop as a commissioner? So there's a lot actually, and what we as citizens need to do, which is very, very, very important, and also need resources, is to carry out the civic education. Citizens need to be reminded, need to be awakened. They've lived in poverty for a very long time, and they've adjusted and allowed to live with it. And there's a lot of propaganda that has been going on radio stations, on TVs, and on bloggers. Bloggers, remember, they've been all bought, who are now carrying out propaganda in favor of the regime. Remember, these are young people whose minds is on entertainment. So when a blogger posts something, they will think that is right. They don't have time to digest and carry out analysis whether it's true or not. So it's our cardinal obligation to carry out civic education. Today, I was at a washing bay. A police officer was also washing his car. Then he threw a bottle. I picked it. I went and threw it in a dustbin. I came back. I told him, we need to clean Uganda. He said, yeah. And said, yeah, we need to clean Uganda from the top to the bottom. You understand what I mean? Yeah, he said, no, but all things are okay. I'm like, really, are things okay? You're driving that pickup, and that pickup is being used as an ambulance. Do you think it's healthy? One day you're going to get an accident and you'll also be pushed down of that pickup, which is acting as an ambulance. But now for us, we get orders. I asked him, why do you beat people who fight for you? Why do you brutalize people who fight for you? They came 2, 3. The washing bay guys also came. We're around 15 and we started arguing. And the washing bay guys were also supporting the police officer. And the washing bay guy was saying, no, but leadership comes from God. I told him, no, leadership doesn't come from God. It's your obligation to call things to happen. Don't be comfortable in what you're doing. Washing cars here. You need to upgrade from here. Washing cars here will not manage to pay medical bills in the hospital, and it will not manage to pay school fees for your kids in a decent school. Don't settle for nothing. Do something. Don't just sit and think someone will come from heaven and liberate you. So we argued. At the end of the day, I discovered some people again were understanding the truth. And it came to my senses, I think we need to do a lot of civic education. So basically, and civic education doesn't just come cheaply. It comes at a price. People need to move. People need to move from A to B place, need accommodation, A, B, C, D, So that's my submission. Thank you very much for the space.
We deserve better. Oh my God.
Nancy, kanta kufura. Was that good girl?
So, good girl, let me cycle back on one very important issue, and this is the electoral reforms. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to speak about it.
You can speak about it just because for us, we don't value, first of all, the people proposing the bills, and also we don't really think it works in our favor either way. But feel free to speak about it, please. Go on.
Yeah. So I think at this point in time, the electoral reforms that they are trying to bring is just to put them at an advantage. Because it will disenfranchise many people from voting, because there's no point if I vote an MP in Uganda at this point in time, and this dude goes to parliament. Once he reaches parliament, he doesn't carry my mandate anymore. He carries someone else's mandate. And this is the person that's going to be electing a president for you. So I think that those proposals, some of them are good, but the majority of them are actually bad. You know, they're trying to put so many, like I think categorized in Uganda, you got a lot of pieces. Some of them might not be very good, but there's this one sweet one that you like. So what they're doing now, that they've tried to mix everything there and have this one piece that's going to work to their advantage. And therefore, we should like fight those reforms head on. The second issue that I want to bring also around voting is the youth.